Good evening, good morning, good afternoon from wherever you're tuning in tonight on Social Confoes, episode 14. We're back again. I'm here with my co host Jean-luc, and we're ready to have another amazing conversation with a very talented individual. And I'll leave the honors to you, Jean-luc, to introduce our guest.
And not just it's a very creative individual. So funny backstory. I met our guest. Oh wow, it's already almost 10 years ago. I don't know exactly how many years ago it was, but I actually our first conversation was a very random conversation at that fun. He was sitting on the terrace. He was having a drink, and I just walked up to him because he didn't know me at the time. At least I don't think he knew me at the time. But he was already a very familiar face because for those people that don't know, our guest today was the face of Waterkant when it came to Owru Yari Productions, like letting people in the Netherlands know what's going on in December in Suriname. And he would make these really cool videos and interview people. And I remember he interviewed Dulce Cruz, a supermodel, Victoria's Secret supermodel, when she was in Suriname celebrating Owru Yari. He interviewed her, and every year he would make these awesome videos about Owru Yari. And I was really intrigued by it. Of course, back then I was already involved in Surifesta, so I just wanted to know who this guy was. And at the time, he also had when he made those videos, he had this big fro. He's laughing right now, but he had this big fro. So it was really a fun conversation. And from the conversation, one thing came to another. We stayed in touch. We actually became friends, actually close friends, close enough that he was actually at my bachelor party for my wedding, and we even became best business partners together. We started a venture together. We did an award show together, and then we stayed in touch. We kind of were in a similar industry, but he was way more into acting and camera, and I was a little bit more into social media. And then he started this very big project. He started a full-on movie, and we'll talk a lot about it today. But I'm gonna keep the suspense for the movie for a little while. I'm just gonna introduce today's guest, and that's none other than the one, the only Ivan Tai-Apin. Welcome, Ivan. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you? Thank you guys for having me, Diego and Jean-luc. And nice introduction. Yes, I totally forgot about some parts how we met, but especially the bachelor party. That was a great bachelor party.
Well, we're keeping it social, but we're not gonna spill any beans on that night. We
Yes,
all arrived safely at home, but yeah, it was a fun story to share that you were also part of that, of
That's
course.
true. Yeah.
And
awesome. Yeah, welcome, Ivan, and glad to have you here. And speaking of Owru Yari, from that intro of Jean-luc, for those who listening not in Suriname, Owru Yari is New Year celebration here in Suriname, and it's very popular. So, Ivan, can you tell us a bit, especially for the international listeners
Mhm.
and viewers, what's so special about Owru Yari and Suriname, and what got you to interviewing all these people?
Yeah, it was actually a project of Waterkant, and Waterkant asked me and Gino Deira, that he was a cameraman, to come with a concept. And we both thought, let's do some interviews because nobody did that at that time. So we came to Suriname. We stayed at Hotel Torarica, especially in the heart of Suriname, where all the different people come or people from abroad come. So we did a lot of interviews. We even saw Duitse Cruz here, and nobody knew it was Duitse Cruz, but we knew it, and we got an interview. And she said, "Yes, we're gonna do an interview." So that was I think, the climax of that period. But Owru Yari means a lot for Surinamese people. It's like the carnival of the Caribbean, but still with a twist, because a lot of firecrackers. We shoot a lot of firecrackers in the street, and it's just partying, partying, but it's actually closing the year. So we are partying for closing the year so that the next year could be celebrated, you can say. And that's the whole week since I think that the 2nd of December we start to party till the 31st in the night. So that's it a little bit about Oruyari.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've been part of it as well, and the amount of people that get packed in such a small location, it's
Oh,
ridiculous. And
yeah,
I've seen the top views from Krasnopolsky, got a photo, and you think
yeah,
how do these people even fit? Uh, and they just party on.
Unfortunately, it's not COVID friendly, so we're
Yeah.
still figuring
no,
out how we're
COVID.
going to do
Yeah.
this year as well. But for those of you, so how did, because of course you did this product for Waterkant, but you
Mm-hmm.
were at the time already in the entertainment industry
Mm-hmm.
in the
Mm-hmm.
Netherlands. So maybe
Yeah.
for those who don't know you from that time period, because we're talking
Yes,
at least
that's
10
true.
years ago, what was the scene like in the Netherlands compared
Mm-hmm.
to when you came to visit Suriname?
Yeah, I started entertainment, I think in 1999. I went to Holland in 1998. But in 1999, I thought, like, I really want to do entertainment because I organized a lot of parties and acting at the party. So people asked me, Ivan, why don't you do it serious? So then I went to a casting agency, took some acting lessons. And for 6 years, I worked as an actor for different plays and also different festivals. So that's how it all started. But it was at, I think, the owner of Waterkan came to one of my plays, and he said at the end, Ivan, you did a reporter, his voice, etc. Do you want to work for Waterkan to do that? So that's how it went. He came to a play, and then he asked me. So a lot of people think I started with interviewing people, but it was actually the interview. The reporter type was actually casted from a theater play. So that's actually, I think a lot of people don't know that. But the entertainment industry in Holland has different aspects. You have the film world, you have the theater world, you have festivals also where actors work, but you have also places like Blade or of Dolphinarium, and just like Universal Studios places where actors get trained to do different assignments. And that's very important because as an actor, you can take lessons, but when you are out in the public, then you get your biggest lesson. So sometimes the children came and they laughed and they were happy, but sometimes one threw a stone also. Oh, it's not funny, this, that. So you get like the real audience, and that's, yeah, throwing a stone is not good, but actually the child does not like what you're doing. So you get your best lessons from those festivals, and also from all those studio things, Universal Studios. Or in Holland, we have Dolphinarium and Slagharen, for people who don't know what that is. But actually,
Is that
the
Pony Park? Is that Pony Park
yeah,
Slagharen?
yeah, Pony Park. But Blade Dorp is the zoo, you know. So I worked as an actor in the zoo. So every week we got dressed up as a different type of animal, and then we did all kinds of assignments just to get focus about something. Sometimes the problem. I even was caged like a certain. I wouldn't say but as humans we were caged because we had wanted to attract attention for how it is for animals to be caged. And Blade Orb like that because they had a whole different vision that, how do you say it, that animals should be more in the open. Yes.
Two,
So it
two,
was really great.
two quick questions on that. The first, the play that the individual from Waterkant saw? Was that locally, or was it a play in the Netherlands that you
It was
that
a
he saw
it
you
was a
in?
it was a play in the Netherlands. I with two other actors. I had the foundation Stichting Klokslag 3, and we played. We did every year. We came out with a play. So it was at in Rotterdam, and he saw me. Yeah, and
And
then
then
he asked me to be a reporter for the Owru Yari festivals.
that's pretty cool. You got
Yeah,
flown in from
yeah.
to celebrate, but also to make a
Yes,
thing.
yes,
And
it was really great that we got
It's
flown
a
in,
dream job,
and
Diego. It's a
we
dream
stayed
job.
at Torarica also. We stayed at a great hotel.
and the second thing, I'm really curious about you. You just mentioned about dressing up as animals, being in a cage, immersing yourself in the animal world. Sources have told me that during your plays here, your theater classes here, sometimes you've applied these, I guess, to them seemingly unconventional methods that seem so random, uh, and it kind of works. So could you explain how that, I guess, that animal acting like an animal helps
Yeah,
people exude their
yeah,
acting
yeah,
talent?
yeah, yeah. A lot of assignments are, yeah. Sometimes I tell my actors to behave like snakes or behave like apes or behave like, because sometimes we can get information from how a snake works. Real slow, and then he gets up. And some people have that same tendencies, that same the way they walk and the way they listen to things have. So you can study a character by impersonating an animal or by comparing an animal to that person. It's not like the person is an animal, but they a lot of people use talk the way they talk. Some people are like talking real slow, and then but my one of my next movies will be about the animal kingdom.
Okay, okay.
But
So Diego, you haven't actually been in an acting class with Ivan. I can tell you my experience from my first. It wasn't a full on acting class. He was just trying to help some online actors on the basics of acting, like in camera and on camera acting, and the difference between theater acting and on camera acting.
Mhm.
And it was very confronting because you had to shout your name across the room
Oh yeah.
from one side to the other side. And if you have never shouted your name, there is so much shame that goes into it. You have no idea, but like it's very confronting. You should try it once. Like everybody that's watching or listening should try it once to just plain out shout their name to the other side of the room constantly as loud as you can. And it's very very awkward at first, but it does get you over a certain hump. It gives you a certain confidence that it's also something like, I'm not gonna say a shame factor, but like in Suriname, we're very much like, oh, I'm not gonna do that because
Mm,
then people are gonna look at me and like, and that's basically what he's saying in Blendorup and those places as well. When you go out there in public, you're completely exposed. You have
mm,
to stay in into your role, while others
mm,
can just try to
uh,
make fun of you and try to poke you around to see if you would react. But you got to
mm,
stay in your role,
mm,
and that's, I mean, that's where the real acting begins, and that's where
mm.
my acting stops. you know so um we're quickly gonna allow a couple of shout outs because a couple of you have already commented. So hey, Rowan, thank you for joining in again all the way from Barbados. We have Gregory who's back again to join in. Devon with a very big good evening. Jero also watching and good evening. And Giano says he wants to be a lion.
Start practicing that roar, yeah, no. You might
Well,
get casted soon.
he actually I think Giano is linked to the Hungry Lions, so that might be the reason as well. And also a shout out to Stephanie, also tuned in from LinkedIn, and Marvin also tuned in from Facebook as well. So we have a packed crowd, and we just got started actually. Hey, and even Giorgio's also jumping in. So we have a very, very packed crowd of people joining in. Um, and that brings us basically to the jump from the Netherlands to Suriname, because at a
Mhm.
certain point, and like this is something that a lot of us have to do when we live abroad, and we decide to come back. What brought you back in the end?
Actually, when I was in Holland during my studies, I always said to myself, I want to live in Suriname again. I didn't know it would come so fast, but when I came here for Waterkant TV, I already felt like this is the place where I want to live. And I've lived here before, before 1989, but I wanted to do more. So I saw how many things could be different in entertainment, especially because if you live somewhere, you have to work. And if you, a lot of people told me, Ivan, you have two choices. You can go to Suriname or you can go to Hollywood, because I have a great friend there, Koshita Leeflang, and she told me, Ivan, you can come to Hollywood, come stay at my place, then we can do some projects because you are on a certain, you're going a certain direction, and you can you can practice your craft in Hollywood. I said, no, I want to go to Suriname. And then she said, why? I said, Suriname is like nothing has been done here. So there are so many great stories in Suriname. There are so many things you could do in Suriname with actors, because there isn't an acting industry yet. So I saw more the possibilities in Suriname. And now she says, Ivan, I really, or maybe a few years ago, she talked to me. She said, wow, now I really understand why you went to Suriname, because there are so many beautiful stories. Because as a director, you want to have those stories which never been told, so like Wiren, like I did Wiren, it's a story that never been told. So I did a lot of those projects, like also theater plays, Six Society. We're working with people who are or not, how do you say it, psychiatric. Yeah, do I say it
Yeah,
okay. So
psychiatrist.
yeah, so that's why I came to Suriname, to tell Surinamese stories and to show the world what we as human beings living in Suriname are, and what we can do, and how diverse we are, our culture, but also the cultures are in their coexistence. They are still primitive, but if we can show the world that in all their coexistence they can flourish, they can be an example for the rest of the world. So that's how I got engaged back in Suriname to do projects here.
Okay.
So again, quick two questions
Mhm.
based on that story. First one, you come back to Suriname. Basically, you had the option Hollywood or Suriname. And one, the industry is fleshed out. Everything's you got everything there. And then for the Suriname, it's basically still a blank canvas for you to play with. So, what was the general reception? What were the challenges you faced here, coming from the Netherlands and having the option to go to Hollywood, um, and coming here? And yeah, what were the challenges you had to overcome there?
You mean here in Suriname? The challenges which I had to overcome here was, first of all, just like Jean-Luc told, people, when I give lessons, then you can see, especially that a lot of people need to uh, cross over their comfort zone. They need to, um, um, you can say, they need to accept that they can be a character, they can be their self, first of all. And first of all, they need to accept that they can be a character. So, in my directing point of view, I had to overcome that people should do crazy things, like they should be following my lessons, but also be crossing their comfort zone. And that was in the beginning, it was very hard to do, because a lot of people were not used to taking acting lessons in that way. They were like more like they want to be a an action hero, so then they would walk like an action hero. But I said, no, you're gonna be an animal, and which animal relates to an action hero? So that were challenges with actors. But nowadays they all do like, oh, Ivan, I need to be an animal. Yes, let's do an animal. So now they actually are used to that. But also the society, when you come from Holland and you do entertainment in Suriname, then still a lot of people are like, what is this guy doing? Does he know what he does? And how can we put a play together? And I teach all my students that it's you are in not engaged, but you have to contribute to the story, to the storyline. As an actor and as a director, the script is like your Bible. Yes, and you have to tell the story of the script. That's what I teach all my students and also other directors. You are in the script is just like your Bible, so treat it really careful. And also when you do a role, be that character and not play the character, but be the character. A lot of people want to play the character, like, "Oh, I'm going to shoot everybody." No, you're that character. Somebody who wants to shoot somebody doesn't walk with a gun in his hands. No, the people don't do that. And actually, it's really, really strange example, eh? but but still, first of all, my family, that was also like, they have to take you serious because it's an entertainment industry. A lot of people think like it's not, you don't have to take classes. So Ivan is giving classes in acting, in camera acting. Why should I take these lessons? Camera acting, what is camera acting? Yes. Nowadays they understand, oh, that's where it's heading. When you take camera acting lessons, you can learn different camera techniques. In Hollywood, I went to Hollywood, it's all the actors who are in films are taking acting classes, camera acting classes, because they have to practice their craft. So the society now is getting open for entertainment, and they really understand that there are different kind of entertainment.
Yeah, and you've spoken a bit about the director side, the creative side,
Mhm.
but generally, how can you talk also a bit about the production side, the logistics side, how consumers received it?
Yes, if I talk about the production side, I am really, really glad that there are a lot of companies in Suriname, not a lot, but maybe 5 or 6 companies who started with productions. Like the Backlot started with productions, the Grip Busters have their own technical support system. We have also other companies like Forward Motion and iRide who are busy with different gathering actors and production design. So we are on the right track, but the right track isn't everything. The the we have to, like, the whole society have to get engaged and have to see that film industry is also making profit. It's also an industry, it's also a way of living. So a lot of people say that you cannot live from the industry. That's not true. You can live from the industry, but we have to get it open for uh, companies to invest in. You can invest in a film and your profit is commercial advertisement. So we need to get the thinking of all those marketing departments in companies to invest more in film, not only in just an advertisement, but also in film. And then the film can support itself, and we can sell that film or that object to the world through Netflix or through Amazon Prime or through iTunes. But we need to take this industry very serious, and that's a struggle. Yeah, I'm still struggling because financially it's really hard to get all the finances for a movie.
I do want to jump into this because we actually experienced this today. Um, we're kind of discussing different options to create content for social media instead of just for like the big screen. And even with that, at a certain point, we started realizing like 10 years ago, you could go with a phone, like a regular phone, and you still could start filming. And the sound and the video was good enough for social media. And while, of course, with the best iPhone, it still looks pretty good and pretty damn good, and even better than some of the older video cameras. But the quality that people need to see has gone up because everybody now has Netflix. Everybody now has either Amazon Prime or HD television. So all of a sudden, those production costs go up. All of a sudden, we have to realize that we have to pay actors. All of a sudden, we have to realize that you have a complete logistics. So if you go over 4 hours of film set, um, becomes really, really expensive. I'll give a story on that when we talk about Wiren as well. I quickly also want to say that we're talking about Hollywood, and Daryl wants to let us know that USA is also tuned in. Theo is also saying, Ivan, cheers, and keep believing. And Rowan also jumped in to say that it seems like acting lessons are good for life, period. It helps you to learn to be vulnerable. This really helps for risk taking in business as well. So that's a good one. But then we also have another question by Gregory, which is a question specifically for you, Ivan. When will the comedy come back? I was so ready in the days for the 18 plus journal. I was like the 18 plus show, and he died of laughter. So, so yeah, is that coming back? Are those kind of productions coming back?
I
Could you maybe shed a little bit light on that one?
I think Suriname in 2011 was not ready for 18 plus yet, because I got a lot of remarks in the city. How can you make such a movie? This is putting everything outside. And there were a lot of people talking about how nice they like the TV show. But you know what's really hard for a television series is you have to have script writers. You have to go on. So we underestimated that. We made I think three episodes,
Three full
and
episode, yeah.
yeah, yeah, two full episodes. There's a third one that's not been released yet. Maybe we should release it. But we need, of course, money support, production support. So now it's more it's less difficult to do it. So I'm thinking about releasing a television series, a soap series. So I'm busy with different projects now, and people are beginning to understand that we need more, or we need a television series. We need a soap series. You know.
We no, we just need a Netflix original from Suriname.
Yeah,
We I
that's
think
true.
the television series part, and this is very difficult because you're getting into this new kind of hybrid style
Mhm.
where, because let's quickly jump into something you said. A lot of people were, I wouldn't say offended, but they took offense to some of the things. I mean, I remember a Cream Pawiri commercial. For those outside of Suriname, well, we won't translate what Cream Pawiri is, but let's just say it was a very fun skit. And just like with, I think with things like the Chappelle show, that
Yeah,
was like at the beginning,
that
like 20
was
years ago,
part.
there's certain sketches you cannot do anymore because of the changes in society, that it wouldn't be appropriate anymore. But they were like 10 years ago, they were just, it was just hard on slapstick comedy. But I think the biggest feedback back then was from an older generation. Am I correct? Like, it weren't the youngsters, or were there also
No,
people,
no. It weren't
younger
the
people that
youngsters.
were,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
There were the older people who were like, "Is this your first project in Suriname? What are you gonna do with our youth? Oh my, get back to Holland. Shouldn't you stay in Holland?"
Yeah.
And that was more from
But
the older
also,
generation. But the younger generation were like, "Oh, it's funny. You know, we like it. It's fun. It's it's not serious, you know. But maybe we went. I think some words in the Krimpa Weary commercial. Maybe it was too open, you know, like Krimpa
Look here. Gregory actually remembers. He remembers
Krimpa
the
Weary.
exact lines to the Cripple
Yeah.
commercial. But I do want to point out, like, the spin-off was good because there
Yes.
were a couple of actors in that group. I'm thinking, of course, of Dave Fanada. I'm thinking of Shuala Shiheng.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple of people who were really
Edie
good in
Lemmers.
that group. Edie
Edie
Lemmers,
Hilke
who went
Lopman.
on, and
Yeah.
Hilke Alumna. So there were actually a lot of people in that group
Yes.
and had a great theater career as well, who kind of sold
Theater
out Talia
and
with their shows.
yeah, and I think half of the actors played also in Wiren. So they,
Yeah,
yeah, they played in a lot of theater plays, but also Dave Fanada played in Six Society after that. So I think they were already recognizable faces, so people knew, oh, when they do
yeah,
something, then we should go and go to their theater. But somehow the industry is still a little bit. Uh, it's not flexible yet. It's not flexible enough. So we need to put every party online, like actors. There should be also like America has a Screen Actors Guild. Yeah, we need to bring the actors together and talk about how they can live from acting, but also directors need to come together and also production. So that's how Hollywood was created, you know. So we we still have a lot to learn. Yes.
What's your view on, I guess, the scale? We're still in a very maturing industry, the film industry, the entertainment industry. But what is your view generally on the scale of Suriname, with the
Okay.
small size that we have, and translating it, scaling up? Or do you think it should be something that's propagated further into the Caribbean, integrated, so
That's
you
true.
can
That's true. That's what.
operate on a like
Yeah, you are
global scale?
so you're so right, because like Suriname is not really. We only have 500 or 600,000 people living here, so we have maybe like for the max 100,000 households. That's not enough to put your film on the market like here. So we need to take in consideration to be a part of the Caribbean. The Caribbean has like 46 million people, so maybe like 10 million households. So when you can sell your film or your theater play to the Caribbean, then you have a lot of more profit, and then the industry can start. So I think Suriname can take a front approach to other countries in the Caribbean so that we can work together. The film markets, you have the European film market, you have the American film market, but we don't have a structured Caribbean market yet. So I think it's now time that we get a Caribbean market so that the Caribbean market can negotiate with the European market about film, selling film, etc. So would say that we need to engage with other countries in the Caribbean as soon as possible. That's what I'm now also, I would say, fighting for. Yes. Yes.
And I guess a quick follow up on that from the comments from
Mhm.
Daryl: is there enough money in Su to live off in the industry?
Uh, Me as an actor and director, I have to do different things. I except acting and directing, I also have to give training and lessons. So I need to be diverse. But actually, I would make, if there was enough money in Suriname, I would just make movies all day long, you know. But training actors is also something I need to do, because if they're not trained, they don't know the camera techniques like direct acting, the fourth wall. There are different camera techniques which actors have to learn and which are done in Hollywood. So you don't have to. In Dutch, you would say het wiel opnieuw uitvinden. How would you say it in
Yeah,
English?
there's a certain structure already. You don't have to start everything from scratch. So
No.
yeah, I think so. There are people here in the comments, and I want to connect a couple of people in the comments actually,
Mhm,
because Gregory is saying I write Surinamese paranormal. I hope my in the future my stories get used in the next Suriname haunted paranormal production. And I want to quickly connect Gregory
mhm,
to Giorgio. Giorgio says you know where to find me to shoot some dope stuff. Gregory, Giorgio is very close to a group of people that makes paranormal videos, so it might be good to link up there because there might be some interactions as well. I think it's also interesting to know for people that don't know a lot about the Surinamese industry. We have a couple of key people who have performed really well internationally in the
mhm,
film industry. We don't know a lot about them. First, of course, Conchita. Ivan already mentioned Conchita. Conchita is just a gateway for Surinamese people. She really supports Surinamese people that want to try something in Hollywood. So that's definitely, but you do have to be serious.
mhm,
She
mhm,
is serious. If she wants to help you, you have to be serious as well. And I think also one of the people that's really underrated when it comes to this scene, because we all know Pim de la Para. We know this. Most of us who are into the movie industry in Suriname know about Pim La Para and his legacy, but a lot of people don't know about Milton Kam. And for
mhm,
those who are really into the darker the cinematography into film, you should definitely, if Milton Kam is in Suriname, you should
mhm,
definitely request or hope that he's available to
mhm.
have a short chat with you, because he's someone who's worked on like the highest productions in big movies as well. So
Still work.
we do have do have the talent. So Ivan, a quick follow-up question on that is, we're talking about the Surinamese industry.
Mhm,
Tefan is also saying, like Ivan said, we should be more interacting with the Caribbean. I saw a few Caribbean movies on Fiadu, which is also interesting. Shout out to Fiadu from Uwelas as well, which is kind of like a Netflix platform. But what I'm really curious about is like, how do we make sure that the successful Surinamese people who are in the entertainment industry, who are in the film industry, how do we make sure the same thing doesn't happen with which happens with our international sports stars,
mhm,
that they come back, they want to do want to do something for the Surinamese community,
mhm.
and then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we were trying to help, but we don't feel like we're happily being invited here, but rather our views are being like pushed away, like, now we don't want to do that. How do we bridge the gap on that one?
First of all, I would say everything takes time. Yes, because when I came back, my I think the first 3 years were really difficult because people were telling me what am I doing, because where is it heading, and so everything takes time. You have to invest. Second of all, you have to invest in the country. If you don't invest in the country, you wouldn't get results, because you need to invest and you need to be here also to invest, because like I said, I'm now investing knowledge in actors about the techniques, because you can write a script, but if the actor does not know how to be that role and be that character, living that character, then you can write top stories, you can have production design, but you cannot make a film. So, for your answer, there has to be a structure, just like in other countries in Europe, that you have actors who get trained. You also have production design who's getting trained. You also have DOPs who are getting trained. Milton Kam is also in the Suriname selection committee for the Oscars. And the Suriname selection committee consists of Conchita Leeflang, Milton Kam, Pim de la Para, Eddie Wijngaarden, Elvira Sandi, and Helen Rijkaard, and they all want to do projects in a structured manner with Surinamese talents. We know that these talents are, I wouldn't say raw, but they haven't like got the appropriate training yet. So what this group wants to do, the Suriname Selection Committee, they want to do projects so that we can hire the the how would you say it, we can develop the industry in a structured way. Because if you go to Netflix or Amazon, the first thing what they ask you is, how about the rights, who has the rights? Because in your country you cannot put the rights in, so they don't take they don't take you serious. So if we don't get this, we need also the support of the government. You cannot work alongside the government. It's impossible. Because I could put my rights in Holland because I've lived there and I got my network there. But for other Surinamese people, it's like really not possible because they haven't got the right connections.
I,
So we need
I
to invest. We need to invest in the structure.
I think that's a perfect segue to talk about your debut movie, Wiren, because for those of you who are listening, watching, Wiren was, I guess, the first movie being pushed to the selection committee to be nominated for the Oscars. I think this is a perfect, I guess, case study on how we could derive a structure from. So, could you walk us, I guess, from the first, what's the status? How was that being, submitting something for the Oscars, and then let's talk about the movie in general, how that went.
Yeah. First of all, I think it was in 2019 that I approached the Academy of Motion Pictures and Arts for what is the not only the time span, but what should be made possible to send in a movie. And then they sent me their requirements. It was a whole list of all kinds of things. Yeah. And then I read the requirements, and then I made contact with Elvira Samdi. Elvira Sandi was the head of was the director of the Department of Culture. And because it has to be from the country has to send in a movie. So she got all the requirements and put a group of international people together, and those people are being how do you say, balloted by the Academy of Motion Pictures. So they go to their resume, they screen them, and that's how these six people got involved for being on the Suriname Selection Committee. So the Suriname Selection Committee is not gathered by people in Suriname, but they are being screened by the Academy of Motion Picture and Arts. So that was the first traject, the first phase, and that was nearly a year. And then the second phase was, okay, how do you send the film in? And that is also you have to send it into the Suriname Selection Committee. If there are more films in, then you also have to uh, how do you say it? You also have They also have their requirements. The language should be native language, like for instance, and most of the crew and cast have to live in Suriname. So there were a lot of requirements, and also uh, what the movie consists of, disability people. So certain topics are real hot nowadays, you can say. So it was a whole, I would say, I think 2 years. It took me 2 years before our movie got in, and that was really really an accomplishment, if I say it myself. But it were 2 years of investing, and we're now on the list. We didn't got nominated, but Suriname has a movie on the list of the Oscars. That's so important because now people all over the world are connecting with people here. Jean-Luc
How
wanted to
many
say.
countries? How many countries apply, or how many countries handed in? Just to give us a general feel of like what it would mean if we got nominated. Like how many
Yes.
movies get nominated in a category, and then how many countries submitted?
There were 93 countries who submitted the film, and I think three or four got disqualified because they didn't reach the requirements, and five only get nominated. There is also, I would say, the members who nominate the movie. There are 1,500 members who nominate the movie. And I talked with Mr. John Bloom, that's a friend of Conchita. He is also one of the directors of the Academy. And he said, You have to make a lot of advertisement for your movie, because those
Ah,
1,500 people, they all need to hear about the movie. They all have to watch the movie, because they won't look at all the 100 movies. So we were a little bit late with the advertisement for the movie, because we didn't know that it was like that, that there was an urge. Because when I heard that Wiren was selected by the Suriname selection committee, it was November. Actually, since November, we had to push it, maybe putting billboards in Hollywood, So we didn't do that. But for our next movie, or if there is another movie selected, then we know these things. So we are learning. We are learning. Yes.
I think
okay,
that's
very interesting.
a
Mm.
perfect place to put Devin's comment here. So, should we use the success of Wiren as sort of a mark for every filmmaker and she should strive for? Because basically, this is a benchmark now. You have the framework. So, is this something, yeah, to strive for with every, I guess, future production?
Yeah, I would say Wiren is a social drama. So you have a lot of people who don't like social drama. You have people who like social drama. It's not a love story. One People was more a love story, combining it with the elements of independent. But Wiren is a social story, combining it with the elements of rights. So I think I would you cannot compare movies with each other. So the success of Viren is maybe an opening for other film lovers to make also a movie. But still, I urge them to take lessons. If it's not online, take lessons how you should write a story, how you should direct a story, or how to act in a movie.
So, but also, what I do want to know is like this was in the category for international film.
Hmm. Yes.
Um, is there a difference between short movies and full length movies? Because Viren is a full length movie. There are some high quality Surinamese. I mean, you played in one Akiki, which
Hmm.
is a really high quality short movie.
Short
Would
movie.
that qualify in the same category, or is it a different category for that one?
There's a different category. Wieren is in the international featured category, and its length should be minimal 90 minutes.
Okay.
So Akiki would be in the short movie, but then you have to start up the whole process, because for the short movies there should also be a short movie Suriname selection committee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you have to start the whole process again. So it's like, it's a lot of work, but I think that should be done. We should do that. But I think within a few months there will be a session where everybody can tune in, and then the Suriname selection committee will lay everything, will tell you everything how we can develop that way, the different structures to go to the Oscars. Yes. And it's really important that we have a movie at the Oscars, because it opens ways, not only short movies but also length movies. So
But can we get Giorgio is saying it as well? Get that short movie committee started because I mean, like in all honesty, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ivan. I think it's for us like in the local market, uh, putting out a full production, full movie, full length, a 90 minutes movie. Oof. It's I mean we're not gonna have a film every year being submitted. We are gonna have to be realistic about that, and that's something like if we could get the short movie committed, committee started. I mean that would be a little easier for us. What are your takes on that? And like for people who don't know the production difference between a short movie and a full length movie, can you elaborate a little bit on that for us as well?
I would say, actually, there is also a rule at the Academy Awards that the Suriname Selection Committee should submit a movie within 5 years. Actually, if you don't do that, you can lose your license. So then you have
Okay.
to start the whole process. So between now and 5 years, we really should have a featured movie sending in again. Yeah. It's really hard to make a full length movie because of the finance, but don't underestimate short movies because you have to tell in a short movie, you have to tell a story in 30 minutes. That's sometimes more difficult than telling a story in 1.5 hours. Yes.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say on the artistic side, I wouldn't say that it's not it's not difficult. It's less difficult because I think in 30 minutes it's really hard to tell a story. But at the production side, the money, that's a real problem because I think you need like 200,000 or 300,000 euros to make a long movie, a featured film. At least that's what my calculation now is. It's at least two to 300,000 US dollars. Yes. So
Are we
I
allowed to ask the production cost for Wiren and
yeah
the
yeah
box office sales? What can you give us an idea of what the production costs were and what the box office was?
okay. The production costs were like 90,000 euros, and that's including not only making the film but getting the film also on the market. And not on the market only, but we also went to the Netherlands Film Festival, but where we also got some cost. But Wiren was like a lot of people contribute to Wiren because they like the story, you know. So that's where we got some help from people and from different companies. Like on the production side, they gave us a lot of. We didn't have to pay so much, so it was like 90,000 euros. On the box office side, I can tell in general, a lot of people think like um, we also have marketing costs, and marketing costs were like 40,000 euros. That's not a lot because most of the marketing costs of different films are like two-thirds of their general budget. So when
Okay.
you have, yeah, it's like two-thirds. But we didn't have any money. So I had to find a way, and Sander and Stephanie, we had to find some ways. How can we get this film in the market without money? And that was like Suriname style, being like we just went. I just called a few distributors in Holland when I was there, and I said I want to come, blah blah. And the first one called me back, and then I went to talk with them, and then they said, "Okay, Ivan, we're gonna do it because we believe in the movie. It got selected by the Dutch Film Festival, and that's why we also believe in it, etc." And that was where the distribution deal came, and it was, I would say, not in Corona's time, but I think we were like around 30,000 euros, like box office. That's not a lot, yes, but I also learned from that part because it's really important for filmmakers to get attention, and the only attention we could gain was through social media, and that's where Wiren was like real strong. Surinamese social media, everybody did their part. Even you, Jean-Luc, helped us with a lot. So that's where Wiren came in. And then the distribution deal came with Netflix and then with iTunes, but it went through our distributor. So
Because they took the risk.
no, yeah, they took the risk, but Netflix doesn't deal with individuals. They deal with distribution companies, and they also select your movie. If they don't believe in it, they won't select your movie. So that's where we also scored that our movie came in on Netflix, while then other companies and other people got interested in the movie also.
Okay, but I think also the Netflix revenues don't get accumulated on the box office, right? It's like
No, no, no.
separate. It doesn't get included in the box
That's
office.
separate. I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
how Netflix works.
Yeah.
Netflix
Awesome.
works per region. So, like for instance, the region Benelux,
Okay.
we have a distribution contract. They pay a certain amount for region Benelux. When they like America, you can sell your movie for Netflix if they believe in it for like maybe 300,000 400,000. But they can also take your movie and sell it for the world. Then it will be on, and that's a few millions. But we got our first, and that's in the 10,000s. We got a deal for Netflix with Benelux. Yes,
Okay. So
but
we have to use our VPN to watch it on Netflix.
Yeah, I was about to ask. So
it's
that's the
also
reason why
on
it's
iTunes.
yeah.
But you can also see it on Amazon Prime Video, so you can download it or hire it, and that's also a certain way you can promote your movie. Amazon is not that difficult, like Netflix
Okay.
and iTunes, because you don't get like Amazon is much easier to put your film on.
Okay. So for the international viewers, if you want to watch Wiren, it's like Ivan said, it had to be in Dutch, but it I think it's subtitled in English as well,
Yes, yes.
and you can actually watch that on Amazon Prime. So that's really cool.
Yeah, for
So
people in the United States and United Kingdom. I'm not
so
sure yet if you can watch it.
can we see it in the Caribbean on
I
Amazon
think
Prime?
so. I think so. I think so. You can see it on Amazon Prime if you have a credit card or through the American system. You can watch Sweden also. Yes, I would say. I'm gonna check it out, but I think so because the Dutch version people could watch from Suriname. So I think with the American version with English subtitles, I think so in the Caribbean.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Ivan. And it's a really listening to all this from getting distributors, getting it's a very complicated process. And
Yes.
I'm gonna try and sum it up. So basically, for the Oscars, you have this committee per category, and for each category, you need a separate team to go through the submissions, and then that gets considered by the bigger committee of 1,500 plus people, and then you
Ooh,
need to separately market that to those people, so that gets added to your basically your
that's
total
true.
budget of
Yeah,
production.
yeah.
And yeah, those numbers you are calling 200K, 300K, two-thirds go into marketing makes you wonder, like, if
Yeah.
so much goes into marketing, like, what do the companies in the end who invest in it get out of it?
Actually, I would say we, we should start a distribution company in the Caribbean. I would say if you want to make money in this industry, you should start a distribution company and get the licensing from different, because we don't have distribution companies yet. I would say in the Caribbean, but maybe there are a few already, but I don't know them. So I would say if you want to make money, start a distribution company. Uh, should we start a distribution company in Suriname? I would say no, because there are not so many households yet. S- You know. But what was your question again?
No, I just wanted some clarity on that, on the
Mm-hmm.
distribution. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you answered that part of that's where the money is. But the question was, you get the funding from people, companies
Mm-hmm.
invest in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and more than half of that money is invested in marketing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, what is the ROI
Mm-hmm.
tangibly for the companies that invest in the movie, in aside
The
from
return
just
on
believing
investment.
in the idea?
2/3. If you have a budget of like $1 million, then your production cost should be like 200,000 or 300,000. The 700,000 should be invested in marketing, because you need billboards, you need in every country you should do your own marketing, so um, if people invest so much money, then you should say that distribution companies, that's where actually the money is made. Because if you make a distribution deal, you get like a percentage. Yes. So what I've learned is that you should make distribution deals in different regions, and every distribution deal should differ from uh, every region. So, like, you should try to get your movie on Netflix and iTunes, like in the Benelux. But for worldwide audience, if you can get it on Amazon Prime and do your own advertisement, then maybe you can get more, because distribution companies are like in the middle of the streaming platforms and television and you. So you should really get a good distribution deal. So when they come with the contract, you should read it real good with a lawyer, and then talk about some of those pointers. Because if you get like, for instance, you get 70,000 euros for Netflix, then you have to divide it with your distribution company. Then the distribution company gets like 50% and you 50%. But some contracts are differ. Sometimes distribution companies get 75% and you get 25%. So you need to read your contract real good. And if you do not know what it says, then you should take a lawyer.
Do distribution companies generally invest in the production of movies?
Yes, that's true. Because if they believe in you, then for your second movie, they will be also investing in your movie if they believe in you. So I wouldn't say only distribution companies, but I also got some mails in. So Ivan, if you're gonna do your second movie, can we talk before you do it? So that's why we need to get Wiren more in the open. But not only not only me, but also actors and production design, etc. The more we get Wiren in the open, the more calls will go to the whole production crew and also the actors. So
Yeah.
maybe I am promoting Wiren real a lot on my social media, but I urge also the actors and the production crew to promote themselves much more, and don't listen don't listen from don't listen to what people say that it's too much. No, do it, then you'll get more attention.
Yeah, I guess the way I see it now, Wiren is just like spearheading is the vehicle to open this pad up, so to get access to this funding for follow-up productions. And if you can get a distribution company or a Netflix to heavily invest in
Yeah.
the next production, you're kind of
Yeah.
guaranteed on distribution from
but
their
there,
part as well.
but there are a lot of rich people in this world who do not know what they have to do with their money. We think that a lot of people don't want to, they want to invest. There are a lot of rich people in this world who really want to, if they only can sit at the front row of the premiere, then they want to invest. So, but they first have to know you. And if you don't promote yourself, and that's something I really want to, I can talk about that self promotion thing, I think, for an hour. But we do it so we don't do it in Suriname. And I'm asking myself, why isn't everybody like promoting everything? Like, I'm like, yeah, I don't know, maybe Jean-Luc can help us with that. But I think it's something
Yeah,
Dutch that
I think
you
we
cannot promote
no,
yourself.
it's not.
But
It's we're not aware of the effect of a personal brand and a brand in general,
yes,
and that has
that's
to do with, again, looking at it in like within the borders of Suriname. We often, when it comes to like when we think in Suriname, we often think within the borders of Suriname. We don't think
Mhm.
outside of the borders. And with the internet, with how everything is developing, that's slowly changing, but we're not aware of like how quickly that can go. I want to give a quick debate on this because it's very interesting that you mentioned that. Um, I can't fully announce it yet, but this year will be my first year speaking at an international conference on social media. And I've had multiple people, like international speakers who I've spoken with, who've seen me speak in local conferences, and say like, "Hey, your talk was really good. It's on an international level," but I never felt confident enough to say like put myself out there. You have these people like Americans, for instance, they will cold call 100 conferences. They will just send their CV to 100 conferences and saying, I want to speak at your conference. I want to speak at your conference. I want to
Mhm.
speak at your conference. And then they've sent out 100 applications to speak at conferences for free. And two of them bite and they get to put those on their CV and say, like, I spoke at that and that conference. That's
Yeah.
still scary for me. I don't want to do that. So that jumps into this conversation because I'm very scared to do that. And now I got lucky through a connection that helped me out, somebody who mentors me and says, like, I think you're good enough. So
Mhm.
she actually got me to speak, and I'm going to be speaking for a
Oh,
conference which has
nice.
about 18,000 participants joining into the conference, which is really, for me, it's I'm panicking just hearing of it. But
Mhm.
that's just through connections. And the other way around, because for the social media conference, we try to get speakers from abroad everywhere. And we're only getting them through connections, people we've met, people we've conversed with. We got an A-list speaker last year, like somebody asked 20,000 K just to speak for an hour. And the only reason we got that person is because we had a genuine conversation for 15 minutes in San Diego. So that's something that we kind of forget, that we have to put ourselves out there. Like
Mhm.
Diego introduced me to this NFT. I'm going a little bit off topic, but just for people in Suriname and in the Caribbean to understand that we actually have the potential and we are good enough. We're
Mhm.
just afraid to put ourselves out there.
Mhm.
Uh, somebody Diego knows quite well, is in the NFT market, and an international global competition was in the top three, and also I think already I heard today sold his first million in NFT art. I mean, that's crazy. It's for us 10 years ago we wouldn't think that these possibilities were there for us, and like you're saying, Ivan, we're not aware that
Mhm.
through the internet we can reach out to anyone. All we have to do is
Mhm.
be honest, be authentic, and show our skill set. And then people will knock on your door like, hey, this is pretty good. Where are you from?
Yeah.
Suriname. Okay. And especially during COVID time. So
Journalists,
to
journalists also, and critics will also knock on your door, but you have to engage
yeah,
them.
yeah. So I think it's very difficult. And what kind of advice do you have to people? Because it is kind of a tribe. It's kind of, you're moving into this tribe and you're getting to know these people with similar interests, and it's very scary because you're an outsider and you feel like Diego called it the imposter syndrome, because that's also his personal experience from the podcasting experience he recently had. So how do you deal with that? How do you get yourself comfortable enough to be able to network and put yourself out there?
First of all, don't be scared. When I started the movie Wiren, with the crowdfunding, we sent mails to, I think, like 100 companies. And I know Stephanie, that's one of the executive producers. She said, Ivan, so many mails. And if they all say no, I told her, Stephanie, one is gonna say yes. And if you have one who says yes, Suriname is a small country. So if one says yes, then the next one maybe will say yes, and then you can talk about which one that you already have two, and then three and four. And I think we sent like 100 mails, but I think she would have stopped maybe like 10 mails or 15 mails and said, "No, I'm not." I said, "No, I've learned that at my studies, business engineering, that you really need to go forward and never think that you're project is less worth than somebody else project. So what I want to tell people is never give up, but also study the companies also, because if you want funding from a company, don't just send a mail which says like I want money, but study the company and how the company can also profit from your project. And I think there's where people don't work on. They don't do their research. I tell my actors also, do your research. If you're gonna make a commercial for a company, for Nandes or Ozone, or just do your research on their project, on the product which you're gonna show. Don't just go as an actor and gonna do, you know. I did like advertisement for Fernandez, and I really wanted to know what the bread was like, So I also ate one. You really need to be engaged in the whole process and everything. So do your research. I think a lot of people start projects, but they haven't done their research, and they don't know how to do their research also. So that's where we got to help them also.
Yeah, I think this applies for not just film, not just social media, not just speaking. It's any engagement. It's about relationship building. And what Jean-Luc said, all this from the social media conferences were all built through, like even a 15-minute talk can spark something, maybe 5 years along the way. But it's having these little conversations and putting yourself in that position. And yeah, you'll feel afraid, you'll feel that imposter syndrome. But from my experience, the other party, usually, if it's not a big company, is feeling the same thing.
Hmm.
And then you got two people feeling that same thing, and the one that makes the first move basically like, oh yes, now we got a match, let's hop on. But I quickly want to go through the comments before we
Oh yeah.
move up to you, Jean-Luc. Saf asks, what are you afraid of? Welcome back, Saf. You've been
We're not
MIA for a
getting.
bit.
Yeah, she put in earlier that she was joining again. That she was
Yeah,
MIA, but that she's joining again. But yeah, I'm not gonna elaborate on that too much. Maybe another time. But
yeah.
um,
But, but I think
it's
Ivan
fine. Yeah,
gave some answers. Rowan says,
yeah.
congrats, Jean-Luc. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Rowan.
Quintus also says, believe in yourself. So we got people tuning in, cheering you on, Jean-Luc. So, and
That's
also,
good. I'm really grateful. But let's go to the wise man said by Tevin. I really like that one.
What did he say?
yeah. So apparently Tevin saw my tweet I put out a few days ago. And Giorgio's probably laughing right now too, because I had a talk with Giorgio about this.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but yeah, the way I see it, like context, perspective, and leverage equals opportunity in basically anything you do. It's what situation are we in? Like context here now. Which perspectives do we have? We have people from, like Ivan has experience from the Netherlands, and connections is Hollywood. It's perspective from different side, and what leverage do we have there? So combining that formula, it just came to me. It's any opportunity or creating an impact.
Definitely. And quickly on the research part, what Ivan already said is if you're doing research and you're researching something and you have an idea, and throughout your research you can't find anyone who has done the same thing, you haven't done your research properly. That's just one thing. If you're doing research on something you want to do, like a concept, an idea that you have, and within your research you haven't found anybody else who has ever done that in the world, you haven't done your research properly. That's just what I want to say as well.
Awesome.
Yes.
And I think that's a perfect place to go to a closing round with Ivan. So, if anyone in the comment sections has any final burning question, drop it now. And otherwise,
Well, I ask Ivan if his sign language is still going, because for the people that don't haven't seen Wiren, it's about a deaf-born boy who moves from the districts of Suriname to the inner city and is fighting for equal rights. Um, so Ivan, how's your sign language? You can still write your name in sign language. It's only 4 letters, so I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
you
yeah,
still
yeah.
you still able.
I did the basic course, and that's
Yeah.
Ivan. Ivan. Yeah, so
Again, because I think the yeah
that's the N.
yeah
Yes.
I think I'm only I
Do
think
you
one
know?
of
Do
the
you know your sign language?
I
Yes.
know JAINLUC. I'm not sure about the U, but for all the other letters, I'm pretty sure. But I'm quite smooth with it.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, I'm
Maybe
not
you
sure about
take
the U
the
though.
course,
I have to ask
basic course,
Viren again. I have
the
to ask
basic.
Viren again what. Yeah, I might have to do the basic course again. Um,
okay. I guess we have one final question from the comments section, and then I'll. What future movie plan does Ivan have? And then from my side, if you have one tip, recommendation for people interested in the film industry, just starting out, be it in the creative direction side or actors, what would you recommend
Okay.
doing or reading?
Okay. My plans. There are three questions. My plans. I'm now busy writing two stories. I have a love story in the 1700s in Suriname, and I'm giving it a little bit a twist, but it's also based on a certain period between 1703 and 1740, and it's about you can say a case also, and it's about the government's family. They are going through a lot. Suriname has just been came in Dutch hands after the English captivity. So that's a certain phase in Suriname where we don't hear a lot of. So I really want to do that movie, and I told also some actors already, and they are really really happy to hear that I'm gonna do a casting for this movie. Maybe in a few months I will do that casting process. But I think in 2023 I will put the movie in production. So I'm doing like 2 years of research. I also need to talk to some historians still, and yeah, I really want to tell this story. It's a love story, a controversial love story. So I really want to do that. And my second movie is about the animal kingdom, and I think that's for 2025. Yes, the animal kingdom, which we started with the animals, and now the animal kingdom is gonna come in. Yeah, I really want. You know, Suriname is part of the Amazon, so why don't we have our own Lion King story, or our own love story between animals and singing and actress? And yeah, it's gonna be great. I really put that in focus for 2025 because that's it has a high production value financially. So you cannot do it like within a year. You really need a lot of money because we have to have all the green screens available. But I think Suriname has the atmosphere, and the whole interior is like just when you walk, you really want to see an animal kingdom coming to life. People dressed as animals. Yes.
Awesome. And
And
yeah,
what
what
was
would
I
you
your
think
recommend?
we've gone full synchro on the animal aspect. But
Yeah, what
okay.
would you recommend people just entering the industry or wanting to go into acting? The first thing they should do or read, I guess, take acting lessons with Ivan.
Yeah, they can always come to my acting classes, and sometimes they can also come and just watch me how I give my lessons. I wouldn't I would be glad to if they would come one time and just look how the lessons are being given, so they can come, all the actors in Suriname or people who want to act. But maybe I've said it before, research. If people want to direct, they have to do their research. And research isn't only done by reading books, but it's also talking with people who already did a project. Because you can read things in books, but if you never practice your craft in daily life, then you don't learn a lot. So to other directors in Suriname, I want to tell them they can always give me a call. I'm glad to give them advice on some things, but you have to take the camera or take your phone and go film and evaluate your film. And if you want to be your film to be evaluated by someone who's already working in the professional scene, then do that. You can always come to me and I can help you uh, get better in your craft.
So quickly on
So
it, how can people find you? How can people reach out to
my
you?
Facebook, Ivan Tai-Apin on Facebook. I have my own personal Facebook, and I also have my page, Ivan Tai-Apin. And they can always call me. My telephone number is also on my Facebook. So I'm open, I'm transparent, and I think that that's something. Um, oh, sorry, something flew here. Yeah, I'm open, I'm transparent, and I think they can always reach me through Jean-Luc or through Diego. Yeah.
Amazing.
All
So,
right.
guys, if you're listening, make use of this opportunity if you're interested. And I guess, Jean-Luc, if you care to go to the last comments and then we could close off.
Yeah, I'm quickly gonna ask Ivan, if you had the opportunity to direct in a Hollywood movie, would you take it?
If I could play in a Hollywood movie, I would take it.
The
Yeah,
opportunity to
because
direct, to
yeah,
direct,
to act or to direct.
to
Yes,
direct.
yeah. I would really direct Marvel movie. Yes, opportunity
Okay,
direct
okay.
Marvel's
And
movie, and I
if you
would
could,
I would introduce new characters because the characters they have are like really like uh, they come from a certain point of masculinity but strong. But I would also introduce characters which would combine their higher level of consciousness into the Marvel industry, and those characters would be taking over the whole Marvel industry. Yes, I would direct not
okay.
Superman, but maybe Rainbow Man.
Okay, if Ivan could meet or collaborate with any actor, producer, director, who would he would like to meet or collaborate with?
With actor, I think I would like to collaborate with Will Smith and Tom Hanks because yeah, I think Tom Hanks is one of the best actors ever. He can play any role. Producer, I think Tyler Perry. I'm I haven't reached out to him yet, but sometimes they are also interested in new directors. And actually, how the movie Wiren is now on the list of the Oscars, they can all watch it. It's in the screening room, and they have access to it. So, producer director, I think Tyler Perry, to maybe he wants to invest in my new movie, and director. No, I haven't thought about that. Collaborating with the director. No, that just didn't came in. No, I want to act in movies also. So if Christopher Nolan asked me to act in his movie, I would glad to act in his movie.
Okay, you have heard it here first. The first concepts of 2030, the new Marvel character Rainbow Man, and as Gregory puts it, sickness to the F weakness. We can't say that out loud. We can't do. But that was it for this week. As always, the full episode will be available on Spotify and your streaming platforms on Saturday. We will be here with a brand new edition next Tuesday. Ivan, many thanks for being our guest. This was Social Confoes. I'm Shaluk. That's Diego. And thank you all for watching and being interactive, like always. See you.
Thank you
Bye
too.
bye.
Thank you, guys.